Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play the Occult Chronicles. We left off, Kira Aon was here, exploring the first floor of the mansion. Somewhere in this mansion, second floor basement, there is an elder vampire hiding out. Kira, however, isn't quite sure what's going on yet and is busy collecting clues in an attempt to figure out what's going on and where it might be located. To that effect, she has gotten 2 clues so far to make it a little easier for her when she finally reaches the elder vampire. She had a spot of good luck in gaining a new feat card that she can't use because she needs 3 swords and 3 cups. She also then got some bad effects that she lost her talisman, which saved her from taking some damage on a trap. We're now exploring the kitchens, it looks like, and the servant eating areas here in this mansion. And to that end, let's pick up where we left off. And we already have an encounter of some sort here. Zombies. You've come face to face with the living dead. Slow, ponderous, and mindless, zombies are not to be underestimated. They can overwhelm you with numbers and be feasting on your entrails before you know it. Despite having dispatched quite a few of these undead automatons, they still creep you out. A King of Swords and an Ace of Wands. Let's see if we can put the King to good use. We might have been able to use the 5 there, but I wasn't... Yes, okay, good. I wasn't willing to risk it with only 3 cards left. Your mind is strong. You have seen things far worse than this. You finally remember your last mission with Officer Rick. It was utter zombicide. Zombies. You hate these guys. This place certainly knows how to keep you on your toes. Just don't build a summer house here. Well, we have... Oh, actually, this is really interesting. It's just about as difficult to do both of these challenges. Actually, that's not true. With only 4 tricks and 4 draw, it is much harder to actually reach the target of 4 than it would be to reach a target of 6 with 6 tricks and 5 draw. We'll try using sorcery. Now, while Kira doesn't own any spells in actuality, I guess all spellcasters, people with some Pentacles, are able to still summon some spells without a specific one in their inventory. You begin to evoke Wither, which should hopefully reduce these creatures to dust. Well, we'll have to get lucky to do this. We need a knight, and then one of our number cards must take a card. Oh! Actually, this will give us the points. I think this will give us... No, this will give us 5 points. Still need to use one of our others. We fail. You quickly end up in over your head and they swarm around you. Don't let them get you down on the ground. Alright, we try that again. This is a little better. We have 2 face cards this time as opposed to just one of them, but we have to get lucky enough to use them here. Again with the failure. They are fast zombies. Oh, losing sanity from them, too. We're panicking that our spells didn't work. Oof, well, we might as well just fail this one. 2 aces and a 3. The highest card we have is an 8 of Pentacles. This is going to be massive. 4 cards drawn. Slowly losing. Ah, okay. That is a much better hand than what we've had in the past. 4 face cards, all of them very high. If we're lucky, we'll get to play all of them here. Or if we're unlucky, we'll only get to use 2. Oh, I guess 2 of them were cups, so I shouldn't be that surprised. It was tricky, but you managed to get all 3 within the confines of the spell. It helps that they were the slow type of zombies rather than the fast type, but that doesn't make sense for the amount of damage we took. +1 sanity is very nice. We can now finally increase our cups. I'm thinking that we should probably continue to increase our wands and cups next. And maybe then take a psychic talent or a psychic talent to edge. A head on a stake. You think you see a disembodied head floating in the gloom. As you near its location, you realize that it is the head of a man mounted on a stake that protrudes from the floor. Dried blood stains the stake and what was once a pool on the floor. You are startled when the eyes of the head flutter open. This thing is animated by some curse or forbidden sorcery, and it almost seems to be smiling at you. You lock gazes with the head and feel chilled to the bone. You must fight to keep your sanity. And we will have to fight without anything higher now than a 5. Oof, getting extraordinarily unlucky today. Your mind is weak. The head's gaze seeks to peel away a little bit of your sanity. The head on the stake is obviously animated by some evil sorcery. Most likely some necromantic artifice. Such a curse would require great power and forbidden knowledge. Its gaze is locked on you, and you sense an intelligence of some sort. We can communicate with it. I can't think of a reason why we shouldn't. We know what quest this is already. This will be finding and saying the proper words to bring the spirits of the haunted guillotine out of it, banishing it. I think I can get better than that. Let's see if we can use our queen here. I'm going to fail. You attempt to make contact with the head, but your efforts fail. I think I can probably get... Well, I want multiple face cards in my hand with a chance to use them. Yep, I'm going to keep failing until we get a decent hand. That hand was a 4, a 2, a 2, a 3, and a 2, I think. That was just terrible. I'm willing to try it. Let's see if we get a Pentacles up here. Okay, we'll do this. The head speaks to you. Much to your horror, you find out that he was an occultist artifact collector who stumbled upon this place 15 years ago. He wants your help in a personal vendetta. One sanity for that effort, Tim. The head was once a disciple of Thomas Vaughan, the 17th century alchemist. Using Vaughan's elixir, he had managed to extend his life immensely. He was searching for Vaughan's orb of transmutation on behalf of the Palladian Order. His search was cut tragically short when he overconfidently approached a cursed guillotine. He thought that it might hide the artifact. In a trance, he placed his head inside the guillotine's lock and ended up in a basket. A mischievous imp thought he would make a nice decoration and mounted him here. He wants you to destroy the guillotine and break his curse. He teaches you a thwart Dumanin release chant that will give you the power to safely dispel the sorcery that binds the curse to the guillotine. He then requests that you return to him afterwards to help free his soul. Let's search the freezer room. Any clues in this pile of bodies? Yes, there is. +2 draw bonus. You come across the corpse of a young man. He hasn't been dead long. There are 2 odd bite marks on his neck. Interesting that we found him in the freezer room, too. Oh, well, that's an interesting place. It goes outside. I guess there were living bodies here at some point. I am not yet ready for outside, and we may never come out here, because by the time I'm ready to come out here, it may be too late in the mission. Outside is more difficult than what I'm willing to risk for Kira at the moment. Nothing inside the food storage room either. A poison gas trap. You feel your foot press down on the pressure plate and then hear the click as the tablets hit the pan of acid. A cloud of poisonous gas erupts from the floor beneath you. We'll go ahead and fall to the floor to avoid the gas. You notice that the gas is rising in a cloud as if it were being shot upwards. You decide to cover your mouth and hit the deck to get out of the way. That's a good hand for a trap. We just have to hope for no kings here, and that we can use all the face cards we've pulled. That is wonderful. That gives us enough to win, which is really all I need to do for traps. They are just vicious. Come on, swords. Darn it. Your quick thinking keeps you out of the poison gas cloud. Ah, the piano room. We'll find information that we need here from the pianist. And I think the haunted piano will also be here, allowing me to complete both the haunted pipe organ and the ghostly ball. A haunted piano. You see a magnificent grand piano in front of you. The hairs on the back of your neck begin to stand on end. You feel a presence nearby. Streams of psychokinetic energy are leaking from the piano. You can hear a wailing plea in your mind for help. Some supernatural entity possesses the piano. You brace yourself for its psychic impact. You can see the psychic wave roll towards you. You steady yourself to withstand its shock. That was really lucky, being able to use the 4 right there. And we win with the number cards we have in our hand. Your mind is strong. You deflect the fear that would have sought to dominate and consume you. The grand piano seethes before you. Something seems wrong here. You sense that a curse or fell sorcery has imprisoned 2 spirits here. One acts as jailer to the other. You can, in fact, hear the captive plead for release in your mind. You remember a lecture during your odd training about Plotinus's theory on spirit traps. Some cursed items used a spirit to effectively bind another spirit to its existing nexus with our world. Such spirit traps could snowball out of control given the chance. Perhaps you can free both before it is too late. That is not a good chance. We'll make one attempt at it, but then if we can't succeed at this attempt, we're just going to have to come back later when our Pentacles score is higher. So this must be what is holding up the pianist. He is caught in a spirit trap that was elaborately constructed in the physical form of this piano. You have heard of such things. The piano is old, but fully functional. The more you examine it, the more you realize that the piano is integral to the trap itself, which must have required a true master of spirit manipulation to fabricate. You notice that the keys have odd symbols etched faintly onto them. You recognize them as belonging to the lost scriptures of Nag Hammadi. That makes sense. If you can remember the correct release invocation and press the correct keys, then you should be able to disable the trap and free the ghost pianist. Actually, I'm nervous we'll get hit by a trap, so I'm going to pass at the moment. We'll come back for this. Oh, the person I was looking for was not, in fact, in this chamber. Interesting. It'll be some time until I come back here, though. I'm going to want to first increase my wands, then my cups, and another skill card that I can increase my pentacles with. So, near the end of the game. Or rather, I'm sorry, near the 2/3 point of the game, probably, when I decide to venture down below. Another dining room. The possessed knife. You look down and see a large knife resting on a wooden surface. Blood has pooled around it, and there are several pieces of stubby flesh scattered around it as well. Suddenly, you see 2 pale eyes reflected on the surface of the blade. No, not reflected, but rather projected from some place inside the blade. You recoil in terror from the vision. The eyes seem to pierce through to your very soul. They mask a dark and powerful evil will. You shudder and force yourself to resist it. You can feel it probing your psychic defenses. I need to play the page. Alright, let's actually play the 6. We'll risk the page will come in useful. Because we don't have anything now higher. We have the next highest card we have besides the page is a 5. Alright, that did it. Thankfully, it didn't matter which one we played in which order. You have kept your sanity. You have shrugged off the evil spirit's attempt to dominate you. Looks like Kira's barely getting by these horror checks. You gaze down at the knife, but try to keep your gaze from locking on to the mesmerizing eyes within the blade. You feel an oppressive presence in the room with you. The knife radiates pure evil. You resolve to approach this artifact with caution, and wonder how many throats this thing has slit. We can try to dispel it, but we know it's part of a quest, so we'll attempt to flee it. The evil presence continues to probe your defenses, seeking to dominate you. You feel that the outcome is balanced on a knife's edge, so you decide to cut and run. Well, we'll have to get really lucky to win this challenge. You want to move, but stand there, mesmerized by the eyes. They just won't let you go. You think you hear a soft, maniacal laughter, but it must only be in your head. We'll try that again. You stir yourself to move and break free from the evil presence that lurks within the knife. With one last final mental push, you turn and run. Now, we rolled really high, so we get to actually stay in this spot instead of backing up. If I want to find the baker, and he's probably somewhere in this series of rooms. These are most likely to be other kitchen rooms. So I'm actually going to risk that we will be trapped here and continue to explore in this area. The ghost baker. You think that you hear someone whistling at first. The gloom seems to part, and you encounter a figure engaged in a task of some sort. It's dressed in clothes from a previous era. As you come closer, you realize that you are in the presence of something supernatural. The figure is transparent and seems to glide here and there as if floating on air. No matter how many times you see something like this, it is always a bit of a shock. Your touch with the supernatural threatens to chip away at your sanity. Calm your mind and resist the terror that wishes to overwhelm you. We'll play the knight to win the challenge. I can't really afford to take too many more hits to my sanity. You have kept your sanity. At this point, you've almost gotten used to the spectacle of spirits of household servants scampering around their old haunts. The ghost that you're observing was obviously once a baker. You recognize the distinctive clothing and discern that it appears to be going through the motions of preparing bread for the oven. You sense, however, that it is agitated, in case repeating the same motions over and over as if stuck in some type of circle. It pays you no attention whatsoever. Let's try to communicate with it. You decide to make contact with the ghost and listen to its story. Many focused hauntings like this have some unresolved business here in this world. Maybe you can help. You enter a trance and psychically reach out to the ghost. No, no, no! I'll not have that thing in my oven. Now go away. It lashes out at you. This might be acceptable. Let's see if we get cups. We'll win. Oh, that was fantastic. Wonderful. 9 points, just like that. You enter a trance and psychically reach out to the ghost. As you suspected, the ghost is caught in a psychokinetic rut of a sort. It's not fully aware of this, but it seems eager to talk. I haven't any time for you, shouts the ghostly baker. Unless, of course, you can get my oven working again. It's wandered off somewhere, but I need it cleaned and fast. It's time to make the donuts. The ghostly baker pays you no more heed and goes back to his endless preparations. You will need to find this oven and clean it. A protector. You stumble upon a small, twisted, hunchbacked dwarf. He seems to be as surprised to see you as you are to see him. He must be a servant of some sort. Without hesitation, he starts yelling, "Alarm! Alarm!" There seems to be no one around to respond to his cries for help, so I've just modded this creature, right before I began recording this series for Kira. And I have to test it, so we gotta make sure it works. Right, that's good, we have text at least. Normally, we would only be allowed to attack the hunchback. I have added a way for you to use psychic powers and magic if you so wish. I think we'll try using psychic powers here. You decide to silence the creature as quickly as possible. Oh, that question mark is because I have a hyphen, and the game doesn't treat that as such. Let me write that down really quick. Okay. You decide to silence the creature as quickly as possible, shattering its mind and breaking its ability to even speak. An ace and a 2 are 2 low cards. King of Swords, Knight of Swords, and we have 2 6s otherwise. This creature can damage us. Actually, I think in our case, because we're using psionics, it will, I believe I programmed it only to damage our psychic abilities, which is to say our sanity. Sorcery, if you fail, you have a chance to lose life and sanity, and with attacking it, you only lose life. It proved a bit tougher than you had originally thought. That's wrong as well. So lots of typos in what I typed in here. There wasn't much to work with, as it were. What was there, though, was as tight as a knot and seemed to be controlled by an outside force. In the end, though, it lies still, its mind shattered and its breath ended. Yes, these creatures drop bullets. No, I don't understand why. I just know that that was on their list. It would make more sense for them to drop more experience points or something, but I decided not to change what they dropped. Nothing in the servant's room. Story advanced, token drawn, the element of surprise. You have come to the Corvinus Manor unannounced and expecting trouble. Oh, that's the same text as the last one. All successful sorcery challenges have a 10% chance of generating a random gained charge card from a no result card. While this story icon is active. We have those spells, so we cannot really benefit from this story token. A tall, well-dressed figure looms into view, holding a silver platter in one hand as if to offer you an appetizer. Your eyes travel down to the platter and behold half a human head. You feel a surge of panic growing within you. You've been trained to expect and deal with things like this. Even so, no matter how many times you see something like it, it still requires steady nerves to keep calm. With 3 2s, we're not likely to pass this. Come on, wands. We do, thank goodness. You have kept your sanity. Are you the head waiter? You drolly inquire. Standing in front of you is a figure of what was obviously once a butler or servant. You say once because you are sure that what now confronts you is a supernatural entity of some sort. It is the most corporeal ghost you have ever encountered. You have read of such things in Tobin's spirit guide, but you are certain that this is very unusual. You approach the butler, and his glowing eyes are fixed on you. The head on the plate suddenly stares up at you as well. "May I help you, sir?" it intones, and you're not sure if you actually heard his voice in your ears, or just your head, or "May I help you, miss?" in this case. Let's order dessert. Without displaying the slightest amount of unease, you inquire about dessert by telling the ghost, "Yes, my good man. The guests in the dining room are getting a little excited about their dessert. Could you head over there, to the kitchen, and see what the problem is?" This is acceptable. A Knight of Cups, a Page of Wands, and a King of Pentacles. And we can use the King immediately. That really worked out. We were able to play all the cards that could possibly have taken a card. Wonderful. "Oh dear, sir, I'm afraid I haven't the time. I'm waiting here to bring the master his supper at the proper time. You can follow your nose to the kitchen if you talk to the chef yourself." Darn it! Nothing! The butler does not have time to order dessert for the ghostly dinner banquet, as he must wait for the master to serve him his supper. He says that you should go place the order with the chef in the kitchen, and then return here for directions. So it might be in that room. We might have to get past the knife again. Let's search everything off these sides in the hope that maybe the butcher is out, the chef is out this way. Another outdoors. Another outdoors. Okay. So the chef is probably this spot. Oh, that could be the oven. Oh, more zombies. All right. Well, I already read about the zombies in this one, so we're just going to go ahead and we'll attack them once. Just remember to aim for the head. Oh my god! 2 aces and a 2 and a 9. We'll just have to fail. You didn't take the advice, now did you? Don't let him bite you. You wouldn't let me take the advice with such a miserable draw of cards. A Knight of Wands is our only face card. I'm willing to take a hit or two. We shouldn't get any wounds here. This is more like it. 2 queens. Let's see if we can use both of them. You won the battle. The dismembered zombie bodies still twitch around on the floor, putting on quite the show. Okay, let's increase our wands a point. We'll go for cups next, and then we'll be adding a skill card. As before, we're going to flee the knife, or attempt to. We didn't get a high number, so we're forced away from it. We may be doing this often, and this is one of the complaints I have with the game. Given how it spawns encounters, you may end up trapped in a room. Let's see if 6 higher was enough to keep us on this spot. It was. Okay, so we needed 6 higher than the target number. The thing in the oven. You stop dead in your tracks when you first see it. A large 19th century oven is shambling across the floor in front of you. It seems to rock back and forth, and you hear the loud scrapes that it makes as it hobbles forward. A sudden chill shoots down your spine as you realize that you are confronting something otherworldly here. You flinch in horror as a face seems to materialize and turn its attention to you. Haunted furniture and you never get along very well. Your eyes wide in disbelief as the possessed oven turns to meet your gaze. You must fight to keep your sanity. Well, we keep it, thank goodness. Wow, we're able to use our 4 Pentacles. Your mind is strong. You'll be damned if you will let this kitchen appliance scare you. The possessed oven seems to rock back and forth as it sizes you up. You could swear you hear screams from souls trapped within the oven roasting in agony. This creature is the product of a sorcery or curse of unfathomable evil. The only option we have is to engage it in a psychic duel. We don't have the physicalness or magic power to do anything else. You sense an evil mind bound with spite to this... Wow. Let's try that again. You sense an evil mind bound with spite to this kitchen appliance. You might be able to force it to flee its constraints through the power of your mind. Well, not with these cards. You lost the duel. Blood trickles out of your nose. The psychokinetic energy that this kitchen appliance commands is impressive and dangerous. It is very risky to lose these, but I really did not like the cards I had. I'll play the page. Let's see if we can get another Wands card. We could try using Banished Spirit to gain some more points. I could use this, select a card, and if it was a non-face card, I'd earn extra points equal to the die that I rolled. But I'm not that desperate to earn extra points at this point. You won the duel. Your psychic talents are impressive. You will spirit haunting the oven to leave? The oven. You will the spirit haunting the oven to leave this world, and it obeys. One sanity and 2 experience points. The Ghost Chef. You see what at first looks like a blur of light and shadow moving back and forth in a circular pattern. It might even be the reflection of some nearby mirror or window. Suddenly you see a ghost materialize before you. It's dressed in the classic attire of a chef with an apron and a distinctive cooking hat. You stop dead in your tracks and try to compose yourself. Your mind races contemplating this ghostly creature that has suddenly appeared before you. The fear it elicits is of course natural, but confronting the supernatural is never easy. Wow, that was really lucky. We get to play our king on the queen. You've kept your sanity. You might even emerge from this a little stronger. The ghostly chef floats about in a circle as if moving from working station to working station. It seems completely absorbed in what it is doing and does not seem to be paying you any attention. Let's order dessert. You have found the chef, apparently. It's time to use your skill as a medium and order the dessert. I'm just going to keep failing until I get a better hand than that. With only 1 card that we can draw for negatives, I'm willing to risk this. Let's see if we can get a Wands card. I'm sorry, a cups. I'm willing to risk that we'll win this with some higher than with a higher than normal number. No, I'm not. This is fail. I can get more than one face card in my hand. All right, this is good. King of Swords and a King of Cups with some other high number cards. I should have saved both kings for later cards, but oh well. You enter a trance and reach out to the ghost. It turns to look at you with a concerned face. You are here about the dessert, no? I would very much like to help, but I need my knife. It's run off somewhere. Once it's back, I will serve up a dessert to be remembered. Dessert? Yes, but my knife has run off somewhere. There will be no dessert until it's back. Have you found it? It's very sharp and very strong-willed. Has a mind of its own, you know. Please tell it to come here at once. We have a bad feeling about this. We could grab another point in cups, but I think we're going to go for that skill card now. And to that end, I'm going to save the game. Really quick, just because if I mess up, I want to be able to make a different choice. So normally with her, I'd have gone for the talisman by the... I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do this first. So normally, I might consider taking Talisman Expert, which gives me a bunch of, well, benefits for using talismans. Unfortunately, though, I've lost my only talisman, and there's no guarantee we'll get another. If I want to gain Pentacles, I'm forced to take a type of magic ability. None of these gives me any Pentacles. We could instead, I suppose, drop Pentacles and go physical. But there's no guarantee we'll get a gun or a melee weapon either. We could take the Investigator Specialist to grab even more wands with a small amount of swords that would let me use the heroic feat we picked up. But I think it would make more sense for us to grab Pentacles. Pentacles and wands tend to be very intertwined with each other, as do swords and cups. I'm not let's try Atlantean Sorcery Specialist. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure which of these is the better sorcery school, but we'll grab this. We'll be able to grab a few Atlantean spells here, some spell edges, and be able to increase our Pentacles. The Hermitia? I have no idea how you pronounce that. The Hermitia of the time before the oceans drank Atlantis are your unique specialty. There is a vast and dangerous power there for you to tap. You must proceed with caution, though, as many an adept have been driven completely insane by that which doomed Atlantis. We'll be increasing our Pentacles at least 1 point next. You gaze down at the knife, but try to keep your gaze from locking on the mesmerizing eyes within the blade. You feel an oppressive presence in the room with you. The knife radiates pure evil. You resolve to approach this artifact with caution, and wonder how many throats this thing has slit. Relay the ghostly chef's message. Communicating with something like this is always dangerous. There is no telling how powerful this possessed knife really is. You decide to risk it, and enter a trance. It wouldn't matter whatever I picked here, I would need to win this. I do not know what the knife's penalties are, and at the risk of taking a wound or instant death, I'm going to play to win. In other words, I'm not going to immediately hit fail. I think it's too much of a risk. We have no talisman that can possibly show up, and I can't risk even flipping over one card. That was the best card we could have gotten for that King of Cups as well. You enter a trance and are immediately assaulted with the desire to harm yourself. Before you know it, the blade is in your hand, but you fight back and make it listen to your command. The knife obeys. It will return to the chef shortly. We went from having, I think, 8 sanity last episode, all the way up to 24 now. You enter a trance and tell the chef that you have located his knife. You had to insist a little, but it got the point. The ghostly chef is still moving in an energetic circle, seemingly wrapped in its ectoplasmic food preparations. You wonder if it couldn't leave this all behind, or is just being punished for some foul poisoning. Oh wow, we get an edge upgrade. That's unexpected. I guess it must flip over a random positive card on the board. I think preternatural senses. Preternatural? Preternatural senses. We'll upgrade this. This will let us draw another card for all evade traps. Now we can turn this quest in as well, because we destroyed the oven. You decide to tell the ghostly baker that his oven is now clean and ready for use. Maybe this will put him at ease. You cleaned it, you say? Well, that's great news. I'll make sure you get a little something if any of the donuts are left over. Without a word, the ghostly baker vanishes. Another edge upgrade. And an experience point, plus 1 life. And we'll keep getting extra cards for traps. You approach the butler and tell him what you have done. Thank you so much, sir. I was beginning to think that you had headed off in the wrong direction. Good show. I guess this means that he's going to move off at breakneck speed. Just 1 experience point for that. But that lets us improve our Pentacles, which is what I wanted to interact with the haunted piano. Let's think here. I don't believe we have anything else we can... Oh, the dinner party. Okay, we're right here. We're not too far away from it. So let's go back down here and complete this pianist quest for the ballroom. Okay, and I've already read this. Let's try and dispel it. Well, we don't have any face cards, and we have 2 aces, so this is not going to go well. But it goes just, almost about as bad as it possibly could have. You can't quite figure this out, and after several attempts pressing keys to form the release incantation, you stir the jailer's ire. It strikes out at you. Try this again. That's more like it. A Queen of Swords and a King of Wands. I'll use the King. Darn it. Well, I am glad I flipped that over after I got to use the page. It's not easy, but you decipher the keys and free the pianist. He is most grateful and vows to accompany you until you return to the ball. He says that you will never even know he's there. We'll check the smoking room out. We're likely to find that burnt corpse in here. A big game hunter ghost. A ghostly materializes in front of you. It's dressed as if it stepped out of a safari on the Serengeti. It lowers its large caliber big game rifle at you and seems to be considering you closely. You don't know which is scarier, the ghost or the ethereal gun. Obviously neither. We're making this horror check with flying colors. Your mind is strong. You stand up straight and play the alpha male. That's something this ghost would understand. Alpha female. The ghostly big game hunter squints at you like he is sizing you up for his trophy wall. There was a taint to him. You suspect he once brushed elbows with a witch doctor. You both stand there in a sort of ghostly standoff, waiting for the other to make the first move. We can't actually talk with him, so I'm going to try to run from him this time. I'm going to make the assumption that we'll find that wall of stuffed heads later. You channel your fear into your survival instinct and run as fast as your feet will take you. A smoldering corpse. Your attention is drawn to a burnt corpse sitting in a charred but yet still comfortable leather chair. The smell of burnt human flesh is overwhelming at first. You have encountered it before, no matter how often you have experienced it, it always initiates a slight gag reflex. You take a closer look at the body to see if you can figure out what happened. That's when the hands unclench from the armrests and beckon you closer. Your eyes wide in disbelief as the burnt corpse motions you closer. "Come here, will you?" It whispers in a long, drawn-out moan. Your mind is strong. You have seen things far worse than this. In fact, a few years back, you were assigned to a detail that had to clean up after an Agent Sherman mess. Urgent Sherman mess? One crispy body doesn't even come close. The creature does not seem to be able to leave its chair, being partially melted into the back of it. You think you hear something. The burnt corpse talks in the slightest audible whisper. Its mouth barely moves. "Don't smoke." You decide to muster all your courage and willpower to try to get away from this burnt creature. There is something very wrong with it, and it scares us. You take a couple of steps back, and as the smell begins to fade, you already feel a lot better. Soon you're away from it and feeling fine. Actually, it was very dangerous for me to walk here after this ghost. We could have been stuck in this corner trying to flee past one of these things for a while. While we're here, let's turn in this quest. And then, I think, we will call the session. You focus your psychic energy and tap your knife once more against an imaginary glass. Ghostly heads snap to you in attention. Dessert will be here shortly. While we're waiting, what can any of you tell me about this place? Dessert is sumptuous, and you have made one or two otherworldly acquaintances. More importantly, you think you have learned some important things that will improve your chances on this mission. Not 2 experiences isn't that bad. I want our pentacles at 5 and our cups at 4, and then we'll begin grabbing the bones next, I think. We can't really use any heroic feats without a bone of cups, and we can't cast any spells without a bone of pentacles. Actually, what am I doing? We're going to stop here. All right, thank you all for watching, and I will see everyone in the next one. Take care, everyone.